Despite the Andy Griffith Show ending in 1968, it has remained a cultural touchstone of sorts ever since. New generations of fans have fallen in love with the sitcom watching reruns, which have been in syndication on a handful of networks. Two actresses in particular who have remained popular and beloved by countless fans are Carson and Joyce Jameson. These two women, who were dubbed the Fun Girls, have quite remarkable life stories. The Fun Girls were a pair of flirty blondes who loved to dance and stir up trouble. Whenever they made an appearance in Mayberry, it almost always spelled trouble for Andy and Barney, both of whom had their own steady girlfriends, Thelma Lou and Helen Crump. Join Factsverse as we recount the life and careers of the Andy Griffith Show's Fun Girls. We'll also be detailing their characters on the show and evaluating what their addition to the cast did for the series. Joyce Jameson. This fun girl was born Joyce Beverly Kingsley, September 26, 1932, in Chicago. Not much is known about her childhood, but after graduating high school, she got her Bachelor of Arts degree at UCLA. Jameson started working in showbiz in the 50s, making many uncredited appearances in movies and TV shows. She made her big breakthrough film debut in 1951 when she played a chorus girl dancer in the film Showboat. A few of her other noteworthy film credits from around this time included Problem Girls, Dead Jockey, and The Apartment. Her next major role was in 1962's Tales of Terror, a horror film that starred Vincent Price and Peter Lorre. The film was directed by Roger Corman, and Jameson played Annabelle Herringbone, Lorre's uncouth, cheating wife. A year later, Jameson once again appeared alongside Lorre and Price in the uproarious comedy The Comedy of Terrors. In 1964, she played a hotel sex worker in the comedy film Good Neighbor Sam opposite Jack Lemmon. In 1966, Jameson played Abigail in the Elvis film Frankie and Johnny. That same year, she appeared alongside Elka Summer and Bob Hope in the comedy Boy Did I Get a Wrong Number. In 1968, she appeared in the crime film The Split, getting a chance to work with Warren Oates and Jim Brown. In the 70s, Jameson had roles in films like Death Race, The Outlaw Jesse James, Every Which Way But Loose, and in 1984 she starred in the sex comedy Hard Bodies. On the television side of things, Jameson appeared in shows like Perry Mason, The Twilight Zone, The Dick Van Dyke Show, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., to name a few. Her biggest TV role, however, was that of Skippy, one of the fun girls featured on The Andy Griffith Show. Her character was characterized by her high-pitched, abrasive laugh and for being hopelessly attracted to Barney, whom she insisted upon calling Bernie. Jameson's personal life and tragic death. In 1952, Jameson married songwriter and actor Billy Barnes. The two had one child together, whom they named Tyler, before filing for divorce in 1957. After that, Jameson dated Man from U.N.C.L.E. star Robert Vaughn for several years. In 1966, she shared the screen with him in the episode The Dippy Blonde Affair. In Vaughn's autobiography, A Fortunate Life, he revealed Jameson had long suffered from severe depression. It's also known she'd been an insomniac who often took the narcotic Milltown to help her get to sleep. Tragedy struck on January 16, 1987, when Jameson took her own life by overdosing on pills. She was 54 years old. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already, and stick around for more about the Fun Girls. Carson. On February 28, 1923, baby Jean Leet Carson was born in Charleston, West Virginia. She first took an interest in acting as a child. When she was 12, she landed her first acting gig, earning $5 for playing a minor role in a production of the play Carmen that came to her hometown. As a teenager, Carson continued to star in high school productions and was voted girl most likely to succeed as an actress. After studying at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Carson made her Broadway debut in the George S. Kaufman production Bravo in 1958. She followed that up with Broadway performances in offerings like Anniversary Waltz, Two Blind Mice, and Birdcage, the latter of which earned her a Tony nod. After making a name for herself on stage, Carson went on to make many appearances in groundbreaking TV shows like The Twilight Zone, Studio One, and the Ford Theater Hour. In the 50s, Carson played the character Paula in Peter Gunn. The following year, she became a series regular on The Betty Hutton Show. She later disparagingly called Hutton a foul-mouthed old biddy and would say her time on that program was the only acting experience she didn't enjoy. Before playing the fun girl Daphne on The Andy Griffith Show, she had a brief role playing the character Naomi on the 1962 episode Convicts at Large. After she was brought back on to play Daphne later that year, she continued to make recurring appearances on the show until 1965. Daphne's signature line, which she would utter in a throaty voice, was the greeting, "Hello, doll." As her counterpart Skippy was attracted to Barney, Daphne's primary object of affection was Andy. In addition to television and stage roles, Carson also appeared in several films, including The Phoenix City Story and I Married a Monster from Outer Space. Eventually, Carson began to feel she had become typecast in these sorts of roles. She resented always being given the role of the other woman and constantly feeling like a second fiddle. In 1968, she was the fourth billing in Peter Sellers' comedy The Party. Her final film role was the 1977 comedy Fun with Dick and Jane. Carson's personal life and death. In the early 70s, Carson developed a drinking problem that hindered her acting career. She eventually retired from show business in the 80s. However, she still occasionally made appearances in plays in and around Palm Springs, where she had relocated to be closer to her two sons. Later in her life, she managed to put down the bottle and sober up. For many years, she leaned into her association with the Andy Griffith Show and would attend cast performances, fan conventions, and similar meetings. Likewise, she would regularly correspond with her fans, who continued to write her for many years. Sadly, after she suffered a stroke in September of 2005, she was left with very little mobility. She married twice. She married her first husband, Stanley Parlin, in 1958, but it's unclear when they divorced. Her second marriage was to the assistant manager of the Roxy Theater, Leonard Smith Jr. The couple tied the knot in 1955 and divorced 13 years later in '68. Carson died in Palm Springs on November 2, 2005 of a stroke. She was 82. The Fun Girls were fan favorites. Skippy and Daphne first appeared on The Andy Griffith Show in 1962 in an episode that involved Andy getting a black eye after getting into a tussle with Daphne's ex-boyfriend. In another memorable episode, Andy and Barney had to flake out on their dates with their respective girlfriends so they could work late into the evening at the courthouse. While plugging away with paperwork, the boys were rudely interrupted by Skippy and Daphne. Andy and Barney then innocently gave the two women a ride back to Mount Pilot so they could finish up with their duties. But en route, they were spotted in the vehicle with the two flirtatious women by their girlfriends. Green with jealousy, Helen Crump and Thelma Lou decided they would get back at Andy and Barney by going out with Gomer and Goober Pyle. To match their play, Andy and Barney went out with Skippy and Daphne. By the end of the episode, it was clear Gomer and Goober were a much more fitting match for the Fun Girls, seeing as how they seemed to actually enjoy Skippy and Daphne's company. The Fun Girls' third and final appearance involved them coming to Mayberry with the intent of having a fun time with Andy and Barney. Of course, they were only setting themselves up for disappointment, as the two men wanted nothing to do with them. Andy and Barney already had plans to go out with Helen and Thelma Lou, but Barney had to stay behind to ensure they didn't make a mess at the courthouse. Once again, Thelma Lou and Helen wound up walking in the courthouse later on in the episode to find the Fun Girls and their respective boyfriends in what appeared to be compromising positions. Jealous once again, they left in a huff. Having enough of Skippy and Daphne's shenanigans, Andy blew up at them. He told them to kick rocks and leave town, which they did, much to Skippy's bewilderment. Andy and Barney then made up with their ladies and planned a nice date night at Andy's house, only to find Skippy and Daphne there when they arrived. You can probably guess what Helen and Thelma Lou had to say about that. Now it's time to hear from you. Were you a fan of the Fun Girls? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.